All right, let me pull up my Excel spreadsheet, and you can write these numbers down, or you can put them in your calculator, whatever you want to do. Hold on, let me redo the freaking. Luckily, I figured out how to fix this. People use these PowerPoints and they don't know how to put it back. And we all know whose fault that is. All right, so I'm on now. If you wait, I will put them in order for you, okay? But I know some of y'all won't wait and be like trying to hurry up. All right, 18, 22, 19, 18, 18, 18. At least I know what the mode is. 18, 17, 18, 17, 17, 17, 18. I guess that's not a 10. That must be 18. Looks like a 10. 20. I can't write a dadgum 8. 18, 19, 20. God, I wonder who that is. And
that could be an outlier.
Huh?
That's an outlier.
And I'm 47, so we'll put that one in there. All right. Now, let's bring this down. Huh? Oh, you want me to put you up there? I'm sorry. I'm 40 what? 46 and 47. I tried to be nice. I was trying to be nice. Gosh, Mr. Nelson about here, put you in there. All right, now put it in order. Put data. Dang old order. Dang old sort. There we go. Now let me make it a little bit smaller so y'all can see all of them, so y'all can write them down. Hold on a second. I'm going to have to make it smaller. Here. Well, you're going to have to just write them out, move them up a little bit more. So you got to move this up here. Nope. There's 4 17s. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 18s. Three 19s, 2 20s, and the rest are, I'm going to take my 47 out because I'm not a student. Okay. Now I want you to give me 5 classes and make a frequency distribution out of this. So first you got to find your range, which is going to be 61 minus 17. Somebody do that for me. What does it come out with? Dang old 44.
Yep.
Divide 44 by 5. So let's do class width of 9. So that'd be 17 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. That's your lower class limits. I'll go over here and do it because I know somebody's going to go, "What are you talking about? I don't know, I'm lost." So, probably not going to write it correctly. The lower class limit is going to be starting with 17. And what I say the class width was? 9, so that'd be what, 28? And then 30, what, 7? Oh, 26. Y'all go ahead and do it while I get this thing calibrated, however you want to call it. I'm going to suggest that they just give me my own room, my own classroom. I'll go over like a living room phone. Really? $26 plus 9 is what, 34? 35 plus 9, I can't add. 44, there we go. 44 plus 9 is 53. 53 plus 9 is 62. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll do 62. Okay, now do your upper class limits. I'll give you a hint. This one right here is going to be right before this one. So what number is this going to be? 25, and then you add your class width. Or you can just whatever number comes before this. 34. What comes before this? 43. What comes before this? And then what comes after this? 60 what? And you feel good about yourself. So you don't have to wear sunglasses in the building. And now what do? You get your frequencies. Frequency is a 25-cent word for what? Head count. You get your head count. How many are between 17 and 25? And while y'all are doing that, I'll be putting it in the spreadsheet. Lower class limit, 17, 26, 35, 44, 53. Upper class limit, 25, 34, 43, 52, 60. Frequency. Oh, excuse me. 17 to 25. 17 to 25 be right here. That's going to be dang old what? All of them just about. That's 1 to 22. Zero, let's check, make sure. Yep, 0 to here, and that's going to be 1 and 1. Alright, so now let's get to work. Find the mean and the standard deviation of your class. So you're going to need x. What else you going to need? You're going to need x squared. What else you going to need? F times x, good, and F times x squared. See, that stuff ain't hard. Y'all must have a really good teacher. My lunch, peanuts. No sneezing in class. Y'all need to clap over here whenever we do something good. Midpoint, Hubert. That's right, class. Thank you for the interaction. $17. plus what? 25 divided by what? And copy that down. Or move it around first. Oh, where's there we go. Now we got to square that. Copy that down. And now you got all you need to get your components for the formulas. So f times x is equal to 22 times 21. F times x squared is equal to that times that. And copy those down. And there's those numbers. Now let's not forget our formulas. The formula for the mean, x bar is equal to the summation of f times x over n, which is the summation of what? F. How many people are in the class today? 20, should be 26. Oh, I thought I counted 26. All right, we'll check it. And the standard deviation is the square root, excuse me, of n times f times x squared, the summation, sorry, I'm not going to give that, try to do this with space. S is equal to n times the summation of f times x squared minus the summation of f times x quantity squared over n times n minus 1. So we need some summations. We need the summation of, I thought I counted 26.
24.
Okay, I'm sorry. So let's do our summations. We need 3 summations, and that is n, which is the summation of f. So I'm going to take my handy dandy summation maker and pull those in and do a control C, control V, and control V. Y'all check my numbers. And now you're ready to plug and chug into the formulas. Now, all I did right here was I just took the numbers. I'm going to try to blow it up a little bit for you. I just took the numbers and I just plugged them in using the formula, which is not going to let me move it. Yeah, it is. Taking that formula, I just plugged in the numbers where you can see it. N is 24. The summation of f times x squared is 15,255 minus the summation of f times x, quantity what? Squared over 24 times 23. 24 times 23. Alright, I'm going to let y'all crank out what you need to crank out. Oh, the mean over here, we'll do it up here. It's easy to do. Mean is equal to the summation of f times x divided by what? 24, Hubert. That's right, class. So the average age is 24. Why is that? Most of y'all are 18 and 20. Why is the average age 24? It's all Mr. Nelson's fault. He brings the class average up. I meant the average age up. What were you saying? What's she saying? I didn't hear it.
I was thinking out loud.
Oh, you're thinking out loud? You do that often? Okay. I do too. I'm just glad I didn't say nothing about Barney Fife. He might have locked me up. I did that to a security guard one time in a hotel room. I mean, in a hotel. Wasn't a good story. Huh? It was in Myrtle Beach, and three or four of my Marine buddies, we took a road trip from Camp Lejeune down to Myrtle Beach. And we got thrown out of one hotel because we were rappelling off the 8th floor. There was a Holiday Inn right across from the old pavilion, and some of y'all might remember it, but it was 8 stories. And right below the first floor, the pool had a big old pool there, you know. So we rappelled off the 8th floor, and we would rappel and jump off the 2nd floor, and still on the rappelling rope, and then end up in the pool. And about the 4th, 5th time we did that, the manager said, "Y'all can't be doing this," and so we had to leave. So the second hotel we went to, we had an altercation with the security guard, and I called him Barney Fife, and it didn't go well from there after that. So I was obnoxious. Believe it or not, I was obnoxious at one time. I'm more polished and refined now. That was supposed to be a joke. This first row up here got a lot of milk. Y'all got a lot of milk. Mr. Hazel, you need to lot of milk. He went home and found out that his eyes were brown.
I found out
Hmm?
I found out not.
Okay. Well, it gives you character. All right. So, 24 is the average age. So here we go. Let's crank out the variance. It's called the variance, and then you take the square root of it. It's called the standard deviation. So I'm going to put variance because I'm not going to do the square root to the last minute. So that's going to be equal to, that'll be 24 times that number minus this number raised to the 2nd power over 24 times 23. That's what your numbers should look like on the second step. And that's going to be equal to this guy minus this guy over 552. So, your variance is equal to this guy divided by this guy. Now, I don't really care about the variance, but some homework questions or some test questions may have it in there. The variance is the standard deviation to the second power, or the standard deviation is the square root of the variance, whichever one you want to do. So, standard deviation is equal to this guy raised to the 0.5 power. And that comes out to 9. Standard deviation is 9. Mean is 24. Standard deviation is 9. So I'm going to highlight this, paint that yellow, and paint that green. And lower it a little bit so y'all can see it. Let me try this. There. Check your numbers and you should come out with the same thing. I'm going to give everybody a minute to catch up, make sure you got those numbers right. Now I'm going to tell you what standard deviation means. Now I'm going to round this up to 24 because I don't feel like fooling. Well, that's fine. We can do it with the spreadsheet because I ain't got to add the decimals. Alright, so I'm going to bring the mean down here where I can see it. Okay, so there's my mean and my standard deviation. Now what I want to do is do the normal distribution. So the normal distribution, the mean is in the middle. And then you add the standard deviation to the mean plus standard deviation. And then you do it one more time. And then on the left side, what do? Subtract it. And subtract it again. So if we have a 6-year-old in here, that's going to be amazing. 42-year-old is outside is unusual also. Why is that? Because of the 18-year-olds that are in here. Okay? Or the 17-year-olds that are in here. Now, question. Why is a 42-year-old or a 47-year-old or a 46-year-old or a 61-year-old, why is that out of the ordinary for a 245 or 1245 Math 120 class? Several reasons. Why? Most of them are working. Okay? Especially during this recession, a lot of older students are going back to school, but they're going to school at night because they're working a part-time job or they're changing careers and finishing up their full-time job in the morning. Most of your students that are coming during the day or in the morning have either already said they're going to do a change in career, or their employer has decided they need a change in career, during the recession, meaning they got laid off, or they're retired, or whatever the case may be. So that's why your average, that's why you've got a 41-year-old, that's why it's so unusual for over a 40-year-old to be here, is because you're in a morning class. Now, what would the difference be if I did the same study at a 7 o'clock class p.m.? Be older, and the 18-year-olds would be in the minority. The average age at Tech a while back was 26 or 28 years old. That has probably gone up since the recession. The recession hit when? 2008? I think it hit around 2008. And we haven't recovered from it yet. I don't think so, because gas is still $3 or $4 a gallon, and we still have unemployment, so we still have a very high unemployment. So we still have a lot of students coming in. I don't know what the average age is now, but I would assume it's probably in the 30s. And that's what your standard deviation does. It gives you the parameters for your empirical rule. Look on page 103 or the back of page 103 in your book. Empirical rule. Just make a note of it and make sure you can memorize it for the test. It's real easy. It's not hard. I don't even know if I can spell it right. I don't know if there's an H in there or not. There's not? It's on page 103.
It's E-M-P-I-R-I.
I. Well, I don't spell empirical very much. You look empirical. All right.
No.
All right, let's see.
Yes.
Empirical rule. Make sure, page 103.
Yes. The bottom.
Make sure you make a copy of that and make sure you know it for the test. Outside 2 standard deviations is called unusual. You need to make a note of that. Outside 2 standard deviations is unusual. Outside 3 standard deviations is what? Mr. Nelson? Yeah,
An outlier.
an outlier. Make sure you make out those two. Now, you also need to remember the percentages. You need to know those on each side of the graph, but we're not worried about that. That comes later. Okay, we're not going to worry about that. Right? That comes in Z-scores. We'll do that in the next section. All right, now what are we going to do? Well, now I want you to take that same information right here, or right here, depending on where you're from. Dang it. These numbers, I want you to do the old-fashioned, take the average, find the mean, median, and mode, range, mid-range, and standard deviation. Doing it the old way, using like test scores. No sneezing. We need to go out in the hall. We need to go out. Also turn to page 97, and that's where you find the formula for the standard deviation of a data set. Data set means test scores or ages. In other words, the way that you find your average in the classroom, that is a data set, test scores. 97. It's in the green box, and it's on the top of the green box, I think. Don't do that, because that's all I'm
Okay, so you found these three in that?
yeah, well, you gotta do x minus x bar, and then you gotta square it, and you gotta add them all up. So, not a lot of people know how to do it just right off the cuff, so you might wanna wait. I mean, if you wanna try it, you can. You're gonna have to take the mean away from each one of those numbers. And then you're gonna have to square those numbers, and then you're gonna have to, so it's kind of time consuming, especially with a calculator, if you don't type them in the list. So what I'll do is I will, first of all, get just to where y'all can see it again. Let me go with 12. And I think y'all can, well, I still can't. Oh well, I can't do anything about it. Let me just copy this and take it down. Control C. I'll just go down here and start a new. Well, anyway, this is X. X is always going to be your test scores or your ages or your shoe sizes or your heights. That's X. And X bar is your mean. So we got to find the mean. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to make a list. Mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, and variance, and standard deviation. All right, so when you're doing test scores, how do you do it? How do you find the mean? You add them all up and what? Divide by n. A while ago we said that n was what, 24? N is equal to 24, so I can use that instead of having to count. So my mean, go over here, I'm going to hit the summation bar right up here. And add up all these guys. And go back up here and divide by. And go back and find my n. And that number comes out to be 21.25. Now, what is my n? Is it even or odd? Even. So you got to find the halfway point, find the two numbers in between, and find their average. So 24, half of 24 would be 11, 12, and 13. 12 and 13 would be, yeah, 22 is 11. Yeah, 12 and 13. We need number 12 and 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So I'm going to highlight those two yellow. And since it's an even number, those are the two middle numbers. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. 12 and 13. So average those up. Now, since they're, but I'm going to go ahead and average them because that's what you're supposed to do. Just because they're the same doesn't mean they're always going to be the same. So equals, parentheses, 18 plus 18 divided by 2. Of course, is 18. Now, what if this was 23? Then you would find number 12, and that would be your median. If n was an odd number, you just find the middle. Okay? Mode. What does mode stand for? And that would be 18. I'm going to highlight 18 as red. I mean, the mode is red because that means you need to highlight it. The mode is not calculated. The mode is observed. Range, we've already said, is what? The highest minus what? Good luck with that. I don't know how that can be. Yep. Equals, the mid-range is equal to the range divided by what? 2. Now, if you're looking on page 97 in the green box at the top formula, it says that the standard deviation is equal to the square root of the summation of x minus x bar quantity squared. We've only got x, so we've got to find x minus what? X minus x bar, Hubert. That's right, class. Well, x bar is the mean. So we got to take 17 and minus what? 21.25 and hit F4. Now, if you're going to use Excel, you need to know why I hit F4. I hit F4 because that, excuse me, I'm yawning. Ugh. I'm the only one that can yawn, be quiet. F4 locks in that mean because if I copy down, it's going to copy down the median, the mode, range, and mid-range. I don't want it to do that. I want it to just copy the mean. So I hit F4 to lock the mean in. And then uncopy it down. And there's those numbers. And then what do we do with x minus x bar? Look at the square it. So I'm going to take that guy and I'm going to square it. All it does is make everything positive. And then what do we do with x minus x bar quantity squared? Well, wait a minute. Before we divide it, what do we got to have? Summation. And there's your numerator, 2410.5. Now you need to make 3 columns right now, and you need to at least write out what I'm doing on 2 or 3 of them, the 18, the 17, the 20, the 46, and the 61. You don't have to write all of them, but you need to make a chart on what I'm doing, or watch this video 2 or 3 times, one of the two. Always go back to the formula. The formula tells you what to do. X minus x bar. That's the number minus the what? Mean. Okay, find that number. Then after you find that number, you square it. And then after you square it, you add them what? Add them all up. Now the variance is equal to that number divided by parentheses n minus 1. It's in the formula. You see it in there. N minus, oops, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. N minus 1. And then what do I do to get my standard deviation? Take the square root of the variance, Hubert. That's right, class. I said that a while ago. Ooh, that's wrong. 0.5, Hubert. What in the world, Hubert? We have a mean and standard deviation up here of what? The mean is 23 and the standard deviation is 9. Here we have a standard deviation of a mean of 21 and a standard deviation of 10. Why is the numbers different? Anybody want to take an educated guess? Well, you figured out your things. Yeah. Well, finding, okay, let me ask you this. Which one do you think is more accurate? The mean on the data or the mean on the frequency distribution? Why?
Because it's every single
Exactly.
number. It's not
Exactly.
range.
That's the difference. That's why you have different numbers. Now, if the data is tight, if the data is really tight, you're not going to see that much of a difference. But thanks to Mr. Nelson, he throws everything out of proportion. All right? All right? If we threw out a couple on each end, a couple of the 17s and a couple on the end, then you would see the mean and the median from the frequency distribution and the data set be closer. So in other words, if there's a lot of variation, you're going to see a lot of difference. Okay? And that's why. And that's how you find the mean and the standard deviation of a data set, which is test scores like this, or the mean and the standard deviation of a frequency distribution. Question. And you do this the same way. You find your mean, you put it in the middle. And equals the mean plus the standard deviation equals the mean, that standard deviation plus another standard deviation. And then on this side equals minus standard deviation equals this minus standard deviation. 1 year old. So you see that there's a lot of difference. But look at the other end. What do you notice about the other end? What is it up here? See? There's a lot of difference. There's not much difference on the high end. But on this end, you got 21 taking away 10, taking away 10. Here you have 23 taking away 9. Capiche? Now, I will save this, and I'm going to send all these to you. I got them on different drives. I'm going to send them to you so you can, but it's not that big of a deal, okay? So don't spaz, because we got next week. I'm going to talk about next week also, so don't just chill out for a second, okay? Because some of y'all are already packing up like, it's time to go, it's time to go. No, it ain't. It ain't time to go. We're going to call this Excel 1245. What's today? 9/9. I hope we're here next week. 14. I'll be honest with you, I'm worried about it. I think something bad's going to happen because there ain't going to be no retaliation. There ain't none now, so. Oh, and News Fluffy 4 is going to go crazy. We're here at News 4. Greenville is on high alert. Like if you're going to be a terrorist, you're going to go for Podunk Greenville. The law enforcement in Greenville is on high alert. Yeah. I'm going to target Poinsett Highway. If I'm a terrorist.
That's where you have those tanks. Right?
Yeah. No. News Fluffy 4 is a comedy routine. I don't even watch it because it makes me mad when I watch it. All right, so I'm going to save that because I'll send it to you when I send all these out. I'm going to send them out as one big email, and you can play with them or whatever. All right, now let me talk about the test because we're not going to have it yet. Just chill. I know some of you, test? We ain't even through yet. I guarantee you somebody was fixing to say that. Or they would say, Hammy, be quiet. All right, we're in 3.3 right now. Everybody look at your syllabus. Oh, I had a student ask me, I have to turn it off. Hold on.